Welcome to GraphEcon. In this video, I will show you how you can quickly get started creating quality graphs using GraphEcon, a drawing template in Google Docs for creating graphs common in undergraduate economics courses. We created this tool to enable students in economics to quickly and easily create professional-looking graphs to use in answering questions and solving problems in their courses. We designed this so that you do not have to spend time and cognitive energy on technical aspects of creating a figure, but rather focusing on the economic issues. In this video, I'll show you how to get started. To use GraphEcon, we'll go to Google Docs. Open a web browser, and in the address bar, type docs.google.com. It'll prompt you for a Google username and password. You'll need to create one if you don't have one. I have one and I'll go ahead and sign in. Alright, we're going to create Google Docs using the drawing program in Google Docs. We'll go to Create to create a new document, but instead of clicking on Drawing, we're going to go to the very bottom and click on From Template. This will open up a new window which will show many templates available for all the tools in Google Docs. Our template is called GraphEcon, so in the search box above, type GraphEcon, and then click Search Templates. And it should come right up. When it comes up, click the button Use this template. This will open up the GraphEcon template. What we have here is a graph and a number of figures or images that often go in economics graphs. And we also have some text where we can label the graph and label the axes. Let's go ahead and draw a supply and demand graph for corn. Let's click on the graph title and change this to something more meaningful. So how we do this is we double click on the title, and then we can change the text and we'll say market for corn. In the supply and demand model for corn, the label for the vertical axis is the price of corn. So let's go ahead and change that. Double click here and say price of corn. And the label for the horizontal axis is the quantity of corn. So let's double click this and say quantity of corn. All right, a supply and demand curve consists of an upward sloping line for the supply curve and a downward sloping line for the demand curve. We have a tool over here on the left or to the right, depending on what color you want to use, that looks like an X. We'll click on this tool, which gives us both an upward sloping curve and a downward sloping curve, and then type Control D. D as in duplicate. That'll make a duplicate of that X, and then we can drag it over to our figure and then change the size. Okay, now we have a supply and demand curve here for corn. We'd like to label each one of these. We can use either one of these labels. Let's go ahead and click on this blue label over here on the left. Click on Control D for duplicate. Drag that over here to our supply curve, and I'll double click this and label it supply. I'll go ahead and duplicate this for the demand. Control D for duplicate. Drag that down, and then change the text to demand. Again, double clicking on it and type in our new text. Now we have the supply and demand here for corn. Let's label our equilibrium point, the equilibrium price and quantity of corn. We have this point tool over here on our left. We can type Control D to duplicate it and drag it over and make it bigger so that we go all the way to the horizontal and to the vertical axis. And here we have our equilibrium point labeled. Suppose we want to label those axes, the point of the price, equilibrium price, and the point of the equilibrium quantity. I'll go ahead and use this text tool right here. Control D to duplicate it, drag it over, and I'll change that text to a P for price. And I'll make a duplicate, Control D, and drag that over to the horizontal axis. Double click, Q for quantity. Okay. Below here, we can type a narrative to explain what's going on in our graph. I'm going to double click on this and change that text from narrative to this is the equilibrium price and quantity for corn. Finally, let's save this. Right now our file name is creatively called copy of GraphEcon template. You can just click on that once and then change this name to something more appropriate. Let's call this market for corn. And now we can copy and paste this image into another program. So we can actually save this as a image file. To do that, go to File, go to Download As, and then we can save it as a JPEG image. So click on JPEG image. Okay, the default name will be the same thing we gave it, Market for Corn, but it'll be .jpeg. We can click Save, and then open that up. And here we have the image that we created that we can embed into a word processing document or into a PowerPoint document.